She moved like a shadow, unnoticed by most, invisible to the powerful. Every morning before dawn, her footsteps echoed through the marble halls of Westgrove Financial Tower, the kind of place where billion-dollar decisions were made before breakfast. But she wasn't one of them. Her name was Maya Thompson, and to them, she was just the janitor. What they didn't know was that Maya had once been someone else, someone important, someone feared, but she had vanished from that world years ago, after something shattered inside her, something she never spoke about. She kept her head down, her uniform clean, and her silence sacred. At 5:42 a.m., with only a few sleepy-eyed traders and security staff around, Maya pushed her mop bucket into the executive lounge on the 47th floor. Mahogany walls, crystal decanters. The kind of space she wasn't supposed to look at too long. But she always noticed things, people, patterns, secrets. And that morning, she noticed him. He was on the phone, pacing near the window with his back to her. Tall, charismatic, expensive suit. She'd seen him on the company magazine once. Liam Mercer, the CEO himself. But today, he didn't look like the man in the article. He looked furious. No, I don't care what she says. If she shows up, have security escort her out. Do you hear me? Out. He hung up, turned, and finally noticed Maya. Their eyes met. A flicker of discomfort crossed his face. Not guilt, just irritation. As if she'd heard something she shouldn't. He frowned. Shouldn't you be cleaning downstairs? Maya nodded once. Just finishing up, sir. He stared at her for a moment longer, then walked past her without another word. Maya returned to her work, but something in her gut told her that phone call. It wasn't about business. It was personal. And dangerously so. That night, while scrubbing the floor outside the boardroom, Maya heard raised voices behind the closed doors. You can't do this, Liam, a woman said, her voice strong, clear. I have the data. I have the reports. What you're doing is illegal. You're not part of this company anymore, Liam snapped. And if you walk out of here with anything, I'll bury you. Silence. Then the door burst open. A woman in her 50s stormed out, shaking. She didn't even see Maya as she disappeared down the hall. Liam followed, slower, muttering curses under his breath. That's when it happened. He stopped in front of Maya. You didn't hear anything. It wasn't a question. It was an order. She didn't answer. He stepped closer. You think being quiet keeps you safe? You have no idea who I am. Maya looked up at him then, really looked, and something passed through her gaze that made Liam hesitate. I know exactly who you are, she said softly. I also know men like you fall harder. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. We'll see how long your little attitude lasts. He walked away. 2 days later, everything changed. A new security policy was posted, random bag checks for non-essential staff. Maya was stopped 3 times in one morning. Her cleaning supplies were searched. Her locker emptied. No one gave her a reason. By lunch, whispers had started. Did you hear? The janitor was caught snooping near the CEO's office. It was a lie. But it was spreading. At 3:27 p.m., 2 men in black uniforms approached her in the hallway. You need to come with us. To where? No questions. They didn't even let her grab her jacket. In the security office, Liam waited. He stood behind the guards like a king before an execution. This is simple, he said. You resign. Today, you disappear. Or things get messy. Your immigration status gets questioned. Maybe we find something in your locker. Maya stared at him, calm, composed. Then, she reached into her back pocket and pulled out a small device. A voice recording. She pressed play. Liam's voice filled the room. If she shows up, have security escort her out. Do you hear me? Out. The guards looked at each other. Uncomfortable. Caught. Liam's smile vanished. You've been recording me? He barked. No, Maya said. I've been protecting myself. She stood. I quit. But not before I send this to someone who will listen. Liam stepped forward, face red. You think anyone will believe you? You're just a janitor. Maya leaned in, her voice razor sharp. I used to be an attorney, specializing in whistleblower law. I gave it up to protect my family. But now, I think it's time I come back. She walked out, past the stunned guards, past the silent cameras. She didn't need this job. But just maybe, the world needed her back. As the elevator doors closed behind her, Maya pulled out a second flash drive from her other pocket, the real one. And this time, it had everything. The game had just begun. Maya didn't go home, not yet. She stepped into the cold, neon-lit streets of the city like someone rising from the ashes. The bus stop was half empty, her shadow flickering in the glow of a broken street lamp. In her hand, the flash drive felt like a live wire. Inside it, emails, voice memos, documents she'd quietly copied from the CEO's office during early morning cleanings. Evidence of fraud, manipulation, insider trading, enough to burn Westgrove Financial to the ground. No one had noticed her when she was pushing a mop. Now they would all wish they had, but first she needed help. 40 minutes later, Maya knocked on a rusted door behind a tattoo parlor downtown. The smell of ink and sweat clung to the air. A man with dreadlocks and half-sleeved arms opened it, raising an eyebrow. Look what the mop dragged in. Still got jokes, huh, Yalan? He stepped aside with a grin. Always, come in. Yalan Rivers wasn't just her childhood friend. He was a cybersecurity consultant, a brilliant hacker, and as Maya often reminded him, a reckless genius. She handed him the flash drive. Liam Mercer is hiding something massive. This drive proves it. Yalan inserted it into a secure offline laptop and began scanning. Where did you get this? I worked inside Westgrove for 16 months. I kept my head down, but I watched everything. He frowned. Jesus, Maya. This isn't just dirty, it's nuclear. Then let it explode. As the files loaded, Yalan scrolled through them, his face hardening. Emails to offshore accounts. Executive bonuses linked to fake losses. Internal memos silencing whistleblowers. Maya crossed her arms. He's been looting pensions from his own employees and framing people to cover it up. Yalan looked up. You realize this could go federal, right? SEC, FBI, Interpol level? I'm counting on it. He leaned back. Then we need someone bigger than us. Maya's expression turned grim. I know a prosecutor in D.C. we studied together. Haven't spoken in years, but I think she'd take the call. Yalan nodded. You're going public with this? Not yet. I want to see Liam sweat first. I want him to know who he messed with, not when I'm in handcuffs, but when I'm the one writing the charges. The next morning, Westgrove Financial buzzed with tension. Liam Mercer sat in his private suite, sipping an espresso he didn't taste. His phone had been ringing since 7 o'clock a.m. The board wanted answers about rumors of missing funds. HR was investigating a leaked voice memo, and an anonymous tip had been sent to every major news outlet in the country. He slammed his fist on the desk. That woman, that damn janitor. He turned to his assistant. Find her, I don't care how. Maya, meanwhile, had slipped underground. She changed phones, used encrypted email, stayed in motels under false names. Every move calculated, every step cautious. But she wasn't hiding out of fear. She was positioning, a ghost in the machine. While Yalan coordinated with the prosecutor, Maya began preparing statements, building timelines, compiling a list of victims. One by one, she called former employees, the ones who had been mysteriously fired, silenced, paid off. Some were too scared to talk. Others weren't. That evening, Maya received a message. He knows. Just 2 words. From a burner number. She didn't know who sent it, but she didn't need to. Liam had finally realized she wasn't just a cleaner with a bad attitude. She was a storm in disguise. 1 week later, Maya watched the news from a cheap hotel room, hands shaking. The segment flashed across the screen. Westgrove CEO under investigation for fraud and misconduct. Whistleblower claims surface. The anchor continued. Sources close to the investigation say the information was delivered by a former employee who worked incognito for over a year, collecting evidence without detection. Yalin grinned beside her. You made the front page. Maya didn't smile. Because she knew Liam wasn't finished. This wasn't victory. It was only the beginning. Her burner phone vibrated. Unknown number. She answered, and a familiar voice slithered through the speaker. You think this is over, Maya? You just made the worst mistake of your life. She didn't flinch. No, Liam, I just made the first move. 3 days later, the city felt different. The usual rhythm of Wall Street confidence had turned brittle. Everyone at Westgrove Financial walked faster, spoke softer, checked over their shoulders. No one said her name aloud, but they were all thinking it. The janitor, the whistleblower, the threat they never saw coming. Maya watched it unfold from afar. The prosecutor, Elena Brooks, had taken the case, and she didn't play soft. Subpoenas were being issued. Financial reports were being seized. And in every email thread, every elevator whisper, Maya's presence loomed like a ghost from the vents. But while the city buzzed, Maya's world had gone quiet. Too quiet. That morning, Yalin burst into the motel room with a face full of dread. We've got a problem. Maya looked up from the files. Bigger than stealing from his employees? Much bigger, he said, throwing a folder on the table. They're flipping the story. She opened it. A headline stared back at her. Dangerous woman behind Westgrove hack. Sources say ex-convict used janitor job as cover. Maya's stomach dropped. This is fake. Doesn't matter, Yalin said. They're smearing you. They're digging up anything that makes you look unstable. Look, they're even using a sealed juvenile record. How the hell did they get that? Maya's jaw tightened. He's got people in high places. They're painting you as a criminal mastermind, Yalin said. A liar, a fraud. The woman who blackmailed the company. Maya stared at the ceiling for a long second, fighting the rising panic. She'd expected backlash. But this was calculated. This was war. Later that evening, Elena Brooks called. Her voice was tense, low. Listen carefully. The DOJ is still on your side. But Mercer's attorneys just filed an injunction. They're claiming your evidence is stolen property and inadmissible. Maya clenched her fists. They're trying to erase everything. Elena hesitated. They're not just going after the case, Maya. They're coming after you, personally. What does that mean? Rumors are flying. That you were paid to sabotage Westgrove. That you had a relationship with Mercer. That you're emotionally unstable. They're using every dirty trick in the book. Maya exhaled through her nose. Let them talk. We've got proof. We do, Elena said. But the court of public opinion moves faster than the law. And they're dragging your name through the mud. A beat of silence passed. Then Elena's voice softened. We can still push this forward. But I need you to stay hidden a little longer. Just until the grand jury convenes. Maya hesitated. Then she said the only thing that mattered. I didn't come this far to disappear. That night, someone tried to break into the motel. The door lock rattled. The knob twisted. Yalin grabbed his crowbar while Maya held the backup drive tight against her chest. But the intruder never came in. Whoever it was, they were just making a statement. We know where you are. You're not safe. The next morning, Maya made a decision. She wasn't going to hide anymore. If they wanted a war, she'd bring it to their doorstep. By noon, a burner livestream appeared online. No name, no caption. Just a woman in a gray hoodie, sitting in front of a city skyline with the courthouse in the background. It was Maya. She looked into the camera with calm fire. My name is Maya Thompson. I was a janitor at Westgrove Financial for over a year. But I'm also a former attorney, a whistleblower, and a witness to crimes that affect thousands of people who trusted this company with their lives. I've been followed, threatened, Labeled, but I am not backing down. And I will not be silenced. The truth is coming. And if anything happens to me, there are copies of the evidence in 6 different hands across 3 different cities. I don't need to survive this to win. I just need the truth to outlive me. And it will. She ended the stream. Within hours, the video went viral. Hashtag Maya Thompson trended globally. News stations picked it up. Activists rallied. Whistleblower rights groups released statements of support. And most critically, the public began asking, what is Liam Mercer hiding? Inside Westgrove's headquarters, Liam watched the stream with shaking hands. He threw his glass across the room. She's not playing defense anymore, he muttered. His assistant entered, pale and sweating. Sir, there's something else. Liam didn't look up. The New York Times just received a leaked audio file. It's your call, the one about getting her out. They're going live with it in 2 hours. For the first time, Liam Mercer said nothing, because he finally understood the trap was never for her. It was for him, and now he was already caught. Back in the motel, Maya stared out the window as sirens wailed in the distance. She didn't flinch when the knock came at the door. 3 sharp taps. She turned to Yalin, calm and certain. They're here. Maya opened the door slowly. Outside stood 3 federal agents. Clean suits, neutral faces, sharp eyes. But Maya wasn't afraid. Not anymore. The agent in front held up his badge. Ms. Thompson, I'm Agent Delaney. We're with the DOJ's Financial Crimes Division. You're not under arrest. We're here to protect you. She blinked. Yalin, standing behind her with a baseball bat, exhaled with visible relief. Guess that live stream worked, he mumbled. Maya nodded slowly. I was expecting a different kind of knock. Delaney gave a half smile. So was Liam Mercer, inside the safe house, a secure apartment in Midtown. Miles from the motel, Maya sat at a metal table surrounded by files, screens, and federal briefcases. Agent Delaney briefed her. We've confirmed your data, cross-referenced your emails. Everything lines up. The fraud is real. The offshore accounts are real. Mercer has laundered close to $114 million under fake subsidiaries and bonus structures. Maya didn't blink. He used employee pensions to cover quarterly losses, she said. That's why so many workers were laid off. They were liabilities. Delaney nodded. You're no longer just a whistleblower. You're the star witness. Yalin raised an eyebrow. That's not always a safe title to hold. Delaney's tone darkened. No, it's not. That's why we moved you here. You'll be under protection until the federal hearing next Friday. Maya looked out the window, city lights shimmering like ghosts. They'll try something, she said. They already have, Delaney replied. We traced a private investigator tailing you 2 days ago. Guess who paid him? Liam, Yalin muttered. Maya's eyes narrowed. Then it's time we give him something he can't bury. The next morning, Maya released a second video. No hoodie this time. No blurred background. Just her unapologetically centered. She stared into the camera and said, This is no longer about me. It's about everyone who's ever been told to stay quiet. Every worker cheated. Every woman underestimated. Every voice buried beneath polished lies. They tried to erase my story, so I wrote it in capital letters. This is for the janitors, the assistants, the interns, the nobodies. The ones who see everything but are never seen. I was just cleaning the floor. Now I'm cleaning house. See you in court. It detonated. By noon, major networks were demanding interviews. Talk shows debated whether she was a hero or a criminal. Tests erupted outside Westgrove headquarters. Liam's legal team went into full lockdown. And then, the most devastating blow yet. A former executive assistant stepped forward. Her name was Angela Reyes, young, smart, fired without warning 6 months prior. She looked straight into the cameras and said, Maya's telling the truth. I saw the falsified reports. I was forced to shred documents. I thought I was alone. But I'm not anymore. The floodgates opened. By Thursday, 7 more employees came forward. A class action lawsuit was filed. And Maya? She'd become a symbol. An icon of silent strength turned unstoppable force. Back inside the safe house, Agent Delaney paced. "Tomorrow's the day," he said. "You'll be testifying under oath. Mercer's attorneys will try to discredit you. They'll dig, they'll provoke. I'm ready," Maya said. Delaney paused. "He's desperate now. Men like him are most dangerous when the mask is cracking. Don't underestimate what he's still capable of." "I don't," she said softly. "I remember exactly who he is." That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She stood by the window, arms crossed, watching the world breathe. Yalin joined her. "You okay?" She nodded. "Just thinking. About tomorrow?" She turned to him. "No. About the women who never got to have a tomorrow." He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. At 3:14 a.m., the secure line rang. Delaney answered. His face went pale. He looked at Maya. They're not waiting for court. A black SUV had just crashed through the gates of the DOJ's evidence storage facility. The early morning air felt thick with anticipation and something else, danger. Maya stood in the kitchen of the safe house, dressed in black slacks and a charcoal blazer, her hair pulled back with quiet defiance. But Agent Delaney's call had shattered the fragile calm. "They hit the DOJ evidence center?" she asked, voice low but burning. Delaney nodded. 3 masked men, armed, in and out in under 4 minutes. They bypassed every security protocol like they had the blueprint. The only room targeted was the digital forensics vault. Yalin cursed under his breath. "That's where your backup drive was, isn't it?" Delaney nodded again, slower this time. "Yes, your original files. Gone." Maya didn't flinch. "I expected this," she said. "That's why I made 6 copies. You have one. Yalin has 2. Angela has 1. Elena has the hard drive. And the last." She turned, opened her duffel bag, and pulled out a sealed envelope. "Is scheduled to arrive at the Washington Post by noon if anything happens to me." Delaney stared at her, speechless. "You really did plan for everything." "No," Maya said. "I just know the kind of men I'm fighting." Across town, Liam Mercer sat alone in his penthouse office, watching the city like a predator from a throne of glass and concrete. He had once been untouchable. Now the cracks were spreading fast. His assistant burst in. "Sir, you need to see this." She handed him a tablet. The screen showed a live feed of a rally. Hundreds of protesters gathered outside the courthouse, holding signs that read, "We are Maya." "Justice doesn't wear a suit. Listen to the janitor." Liam's hands trembled. He threw the tablet across the room. "Shut it down," he growled. "We can't," the assistant whispered. "She has the people now." Back at the courthouse, the atmosphere was electric. Reporters lined the steps. Cameramen scrambled for angles. Testers chanted Maya's name like it was scripture. Inside, the air was colder, quieter, but no less volatile. Maya entered flanked by federal agents, walking like someone who had lost everything and found her purpose in the rubble. The courtroom was packed. Liam Mercer sat at the defendant's table, calm on the surface, but Maya could see the fear in his eyes. He didn't expect her to show up. He expected her to fold. He had no idea what kind of woman he was dealing with. Elena Brooks stood and called the first witness, Maya Thompson. Every head turned. She approached the stand slowly, deliberately, swore the oath, took her seat, and looked straight at Liam. "Miss Thompson," Elena began, "can you tell the court how you came to work at Westgrove Financial?" Maya's voice was steady. "I applied under a different name. I needed access. And I needed to disappear. Why? Because powerful men like Liam Mercer don't hide their crimes from the ones they think don't matter. I knew if I walked in wearing heels and a law degree, I'd see nothing. But a mop and a uniform?" She smiled slightly. That made me invisible. Gasps rippled across the room. For the next 47 minutes, Maya dismantled Mercer's empire with brutal precision. She outlined dates, files, voice memos, shredded reports, off-the-books meetings, and offshore accounts. She named executives. She quoted emails. She described the moment Liam grabbed her arm and threatened to ruin her. And then, she pulled out her final copy of the flash drive. "This," she said, holding it between two fingers, "is not just evidence. It's the mirror Mercer refused to look into." Liam's attorney jumped to his feet. "Objection! This is a show trial." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Objection overruled. Sit down." The defense had no idea what was coming next, because Maya wasn't done. Elena nodded. "One last question, Miss Thompson. What do you want from all this?" The room held its breath. Maya looked out over the crowd, into the camera lenses, into the soul of everyone watching. "I want to remind every woman, every worker, every nobody, that silence is not safety, that you don't need permission to fight back, that justice is not about titles or suits or corner offices." She looked at Liam one last time. "It's about truth. And truth always outlasts men like you." As she stepped down from the witness stand, Maya passed Liam Mercer. He leaned in and whispered, just loud enough for her to hear, "You think this is over?" Maya didn't stop walking, but her voice was calm, surgical. "No, I think this is where you finally begin to lose." The courtroom emptied slowly, like the tide pulling back after a storm. People moved in hushed awe. Some avoided eye contact with Maya. Others stared openly, not with pity, but with respect, reverence. Outside, the chants were deafening. Inside, the silence screamed louder. Maya walked out of the chamber with her head high. Elena beside her, Yalin trailing close, Agent Delaney watching every shadow. Liam Mercer remained seated at the defendant's table, unmoving, unreadable, a man calculating the last moves of a lost game. But Maya knew the truth. The collapse had already begun. Back in the DOJ's war room, the mood was electric. The press was calling Maya the People's Prosecutor, even though she never held that title. Whistleblower organizations flooded her inbox with support. 3 former Westgrove executives had agreed to testify against Liam in exchange for reduced charges. But one file still troubled Delaney. "Mercer's shell companies," he said, sliding a stack of red folders across the table. "They were wired through a firm in Zurich. But one transaction doesn't add up." Maya picked up the document. Her eyes narrowed. "This isn't an account number," she murmured. "It's a dead drop." Yalin frowned. "You mean a message?" "No," Maya said. "A signal, a code. Mercer's setting up his exit." Delaney leaned forward. "Exit?" She nodded. "He's not just trying to beat the case. He's preparing to vanish. Burn the files, move the funds, leave the country. And if he disappears before the conviction, we lose everything," Delaney finished. Across the city, Liam Mercer was already in motion. His private attorney handed him a burner phone. "Your flight's at 3 a.m. Zurich. From there, South Africa. You'll have new IDs, new accounts." Liam's jaw was tight. "Make sure she never testifies again." "She already did." "Then make sure she's discredited before the jury sees a verdict." The lawyer hesitated. "Sir, there's one more thing." He slid a USB drive across the desk. "It's the original backup. The one stolen from the DOJ. We managed to decrypt part of it." Liam plugged it into his laptop. A video played, Maya looking straight into the camera. "If you're watching this, then someone stole from the government. Again, so here's my final gift to the world. This video has been programmed to upload to every major network the moment someone tries to alter it. Congratulations, you've just triggered a nationwide broadcast." Liam's screen went black. Then the upload bar appeared. Progress, 18%, 29%, 43%. He stood up, eyes wide with horror. No. 4 p.m. CNN cut into its regular programming. So did MSNBC, BBC, Al Jazeera, even Fox, every channel. The same video, Maya Thompson's face, broadcast to the world. Her voice, steady, unbreakable, she listed the victims. Named the crimes, showed the charts, the accounts, the payouts, the intimidation, the threats. She didn't ask for sympathy. She demanded justice. The world exploded. Hashtag Maya Uncensored trended across 38 countries in under an hour. The DOJ's phone lines crashed. Westgrove's board of directors called an emergency meeting. And Liam Mercer? He ran, but not fast enough. At 2:49 a.m., just 11 minutes before his private jet was scheduled to depart, federal agents intercepted him on the tarmac, armed, surrounded. He didn't resist, because he knew it was over. Back at the safe house, Maya sat in silence as the news broke. She didn't cheer. She didn't cry. She simply exhaled, a breath she'd been holding for years. At dawn, Elena called. Mercer's in custody. Flight risk charges, attempted obstruction. Full federal investigation pending. Maya nodded. And the trial? The judge just fast-tracked it. Jury deliberations start Monday. Yalan turned from the window. So it's done? Maya shook her head. No, it's only done when every victim gets their name back. At that exact moment, inside a luxury prison cell, Liam Mercer stared at a blank wall, his hands trembling. His lawyer entered. You've got mail. He handed Liam a sealed envelope. Liam opened it slowly. Inside was a single sheet of paper. 5 words. Still think I'm just janitor? Monday morning dawned cold and clear. The kind of morning that pretends everything is normal before the world shifts beneath your feet. Outside the federal courthouse, the crowd had doubled. News vans lined the sidewalks. Activists held signs like shields. School teachers, electricians, nurses, people Maya had never met, stood outside in quiet unity. Not chanting, not screaming, just present. Inside, the courtroom felt like a fuse waiting for a spark. Maya sat in the front row, no longer on the stand, no longer invisible. Elena Brooks was to her left. Agent Delaney to her right. Yalan, somewhere in the back, live streaming every moment on an encrypted line to a coalition of whistleblower orgs. At the defense table, Liam Mercer looked thinner. Smaller, not physically, but spiritually. Stripped of his armor, his name, his myth, he looked at Maya once. She didn't look back. The jury entered, solemn and pale, holding in their hands the weight of every broken promise ever signed in corporate ink. The judge asked the foreperson to rise. In the matter of the United States v. Liam Mercer, how do you find the defendant? A breathless silence. On count 1, conspiracy to commit financial fraud, we find the defendant guilty. Maya closed her eyes, not to cry, just to let the words settle in her bones. On count 2, obstruction of justice, guilty. Liam twitched. The final count echoed like thunder. On count 3, abuse of power and intimidation of a federal witness, guilty. A beat of silence. And then, the gallery erupted. Some gasped, others wept. One woman near the back whispered, she did it. But Maya didn't move. She stayed still. Until the judge finally said, this court thanks the bravery of witness Maya Thompson, whose courage made this trial possible. The court is adjourned. Then she stood, not as a janitor, not even as a whistleblower, but as a symbol that truth, no matter how long it takes, always makes it to the surface. Outside, cameras flashed like lightning. Maya, what's your next move? Will you be writing a book? Do you plan to press charges? Do you forgive him? She paused on the steps, lifted her face to the sun, and spoke just loud enough for the microphones to catch it. I didn't do this for revenge. I did it for everyone who thought they had no voice, and I'll keep doing it. Because justice shouldn't depend on your last name or your job title. She smiled, And no one is janitor. Later that night, Maya sat alone in the same city where it all began. Not in a safe house, not in hiding, just her and a quiet rooftop view. Yalin joined her, 2 coffee cups in hand. "You made history," he said, sitting beside her. Maya took the cup. "No," she replied. "We corrected it." They sat in silence for a while. Then Yalin pulled out his phone. "You've got another voicemail from the White House press secretary." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Already?" "Wants you to join a commission on corporate reform. Apparently, when you take down a billionaire in court, Washington listens." Maya chuckled. "Let them wait. I've got laundry to do." Yalin smiled. "You're not going back to cleaning floors, are you?" She looked out over the city. "No," she said. "But I'll never forget how much truth those floors carried." In a dark corner office across the city, another executive watched the verdict replay on the news. He turned to his assistant, pale and nervous. "She's not going away," he muttered. "No, sir," the assistant said. "She's just getting started." 6 months later, the world had changed, not because Maya had demanded it, but because she proved it could. Her name now opened doors it once couldn't even knock on. But Maya didn't step into marble halls or glossy studios looking for applause. She wasn't interested in becoming a celebrity. She didn't crave followers. She craved impact. And she wasn't done yet. In a repurposed firehouse in the Bronx, Maya stood at a long folding table, surrounded by 12 volunteers, lawyers, janitors, immigrants, whistleblowers, survivors, all fueled by the same quiet rage that once burned only inside her. Behind her, a banner hung on the wall, the Thompson Initiative. "You don't need power to speak, you just need proof." They were building something radical, a legal defense fund for invisible workers. Custodians, nannies, hotel staff, delivery drivers, people who saw the corruption but didn't have the tools or the safety to fight it. Now they did. Because now they had her. At the same time, across the country, college students studied the Thompson case in ethics classes. Law schools restructured whistleblower modules using her strategy. And activists used her courtroom footage as training material. But for Maya, none of it compared to what she received in the mail one morning. An envelope. No return address. Inside, a Polaroid of a woman in a housekeeping uniform standing beside a man in a suit. They were smiling, holding hands. Behind them, the lobby of a hotel Maya didn't recognize. On the back, scribbled in uneven handwriting, "I told the truth." They listened. "Thank you, Maya." She stared at it for a long time, then slipped it into her notebook, right between her court summons and her first statement to the DOJ. That was her real trophy. Meanwhile, in federal prison, Liam Mercer sat in a glass box with no windows. Every headline, every podcast, every whistleblower he saw now had the same ghost behind them, Maya's legacy echoing louder than any verdict. They used to call him the Untouchable. Now he was just a cautionary tale. A footnote under a woman he once dismissed with a smirk. He used to say, "Power is perception." Now he knew, real power is persistence. And she had more of it than he ever would. 1 year to the day after the trial, Maya stood on the same courthouse steps where it all ended and began again. Reporters gathered, waiting for a speech. Instead, she turned to a young girl standing beside her, a hotel janitor's daughter, bright-eyed and determined, and handed her the microphone. "Tell them what you saw," Maya said. The girl's voice shook, but she spoke. And in that moment, Maya knew she wasn't the story anymore. She was the spark. As Maya walked away from the crowd, her phone buzzed. Another email, another case, another woman with a secret and nowhere to go. She didn't hesitate. She opened it, read it, and whispered to herself, almost smiling, "Time to clean house again."